The road into Black Hollow hadn't been used in years. At least, that's what the map said. But maps don't always tell the truth, especially not about places like this. It started with a simple assignment. Document 5 abandoned small towns for a documentary series. Easy money, quiet work, no people. That's what I thought, until I reached Black Hollow. The sign at the entrance was barely hanging. Welcome to Black Hollow. The paint had peeled away so badly that some letters looked like claw marks instead. And underneath, someone had carved something into the wood. Not written. Carved. They are still here. I laughed at first. Some local prank. Kids trying to scare visitors. But there was something about the way it was carved. Deep. Uneven. Almost desperate. Like whoever wrote it wasn't trying to scare people away. They were trying to warn them. I should have turned back right there. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. And I've always had too much of it. The town was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence. This was heavy. Thick. Like the air itself didn't want to move. Houses lined both sides of the street. Doors slightly open. Windows dark. Curtains unmoving. No signs of life. But also, no signs of abandonment. That was the first thing that felt wrong. If a town is abandoned, you expect decay, broken glass, collapsed roofs, weeds taking over. But Black Hollow looked, paused, like everyone had just left at the exact same moment. I stepped out of the car. The gravel crunched loudly under my shoes. Too loudly. The sound echoed through the empty streets, as if something was listening. I grabbed my camera, started recording. Day 3, Black Hollow, population unknown. My voice sounded strange, too sharp, like it didn't belong here. The first house I entered was unlocked. Of course it was. Every door in this town would be, because locks are useless when there's no one left to use them. Inside, everything was intact. A table set for dinner, plates still on it, glasses filled with something dark and dried. Food turned to dust. Chairs pushed back, as if people had stood up suddenly. All at once. I walked deeper inside, each step slower than the last, because now, I wasn't just curious anymore. I was uneasy. The walls were covered in photographs. Families, children, smiling faces, normal lives. But every photo had one thing in common. The eyes. They were scratched out. Every single one. Not torn, not erased, scratched, with something sharp, over and over again. I felt a chill run down my spine. This wasn't random vandalism. It was deliberate, obsessive, like someone was trying to erase something, or hide it. Okay, that's weird. I muttered it out loud, just to hear a human voice, even if it was my own. Then I heard it. A sound from upstairs. A soft creak, like someone shifting their weight. I froze. There shouldn't be anyone here. Hello. My voice echoed up the staircase. No response. But the silence that followed felt different. Heavier. Closer. I slowly stepped toward the stairs, each step groaning under my weight. The sound too loud in the dead quiet. Halfway up, I stopped, because I realized something. The creaking sound hadn't come from the floor. It came from something moving. Waiting. Right above me. I held my breath. And then, another creak, closer this time. I looked up, slowly. The hallway above was dark, but at the far end, there was a door, slightly open, and something was standing behind it. I couldn't see it clearly, just a shape, too still to be human, too solid to be a shadow. Then it moved, not walking, not stepping, sliding, across the gap in the doorway, and disappearing. My heart started pounding. Every instinct screamed at me to run. But instead, I did the worst possible thing. I kept going. Because now, I needed to know what was still living in Black Hollow. And why. No one ever left. Alive, I should have left the moment I saw that thing move behind the door. But something inside me had already crossed a line. That point where fear stops you, and curiosity pulls you forward instead. My hand tightened around the camera, not for filming anymore, but because it felt like the only solid thing I had left. Step by step, I reached the top of the stairs. The air felt colder up there, not naturally cold, but hollow, like warmth itself had been taken away. The hallway stretched ahead of me, long, narrow, silent, doors on both sides, all slightly open. All except one. The one at the very end. The same door where I saw it. Now it was completely shut. I swallowed hard. Something had closed it, after I saw it. Which meant it knew I was here. A faint sound echoed again, but this time, it wasn't a creak. It was breathing. Slow, uneven, wet, coming from behind that door. Every instinct told me to leave, to run, get in my car, never look back. But my hand was already reaching forward. The door handle was cold, too cold, like touching metal left out in snow. I hesitated, just for a second. And in that second, the breathing stopped. Completely. Silence swallowed the hallway again. I pushed the door open. Slowly. It creaked. Loud. Unnatural. The room inside was empty. Or at least, it looked empty. A single bed. A broken mirror, a chair facing the corner. Nothing else. But the smell hit me instantly. Rotten, thick, unbearable. Like something had been decomposing here, for a very long time. I covered my nose, stepping inside carefully. The floorboards felt soft under my feet, not broken, just weak, as if something beneath them had been shifting. Then I saw it. The mirror. It wasn't fully broken, just cracked down the center. And in the reflection, I wasn't alone. Something was standing right behind me. I spun around instantly. Nothing. The room was empty again. My breathing became sharp, fast. No, 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 I whispered, trying to convince myself it was just my imagination. But the mirror didn't lie. And when I looked back at it again, it was still there, standing behind me. But this time, closer. Its head tilted slightly, like it was studying me. Its face, if you could call it that, was wrong. Every house, every window, filled with figures. And none of them had eyes. Just empty sockets, all staring at me. At the same time, I stumbled backward, heart racing uncontrollably. No. This isn't real. But then, one of them moved, slowly raising its hand and pressing it against the glass. Then another, and another, until every window in the town was filled with pale hands, pressing outward, trying to get out. And then, they all smiled. At once. A low sound began to rise. Not one voice, but many. Whispers overlapping, growing louder, closer. You saw us. Now you stay. My legs finally responded. I turned and ran toward my car. Faster than I ever had in my life. I reached the door, hands shaking violently as I fumbled for the keys. Dropped them. Picked them up. Every second felt like death creeping closer. The whispers were getting louder. Not from behind me anymore. From everywhere. Inside my head. Inside the air. I got the door open, jumped in, locked it instantly. My hands trembled as I started the engine. The car roared to life. And I didn't waste a second. I drove, as fast as I could, without looking back. But just before I reached the edge of town, I made a mistake. I looked in the rearview mirror. And what I saw was impossible. The town wasn't empty anymore. The streets were filled with people, standing still, watching my car leave. All of them, smiling. And among them, I saw myself, standing there, not scared, not running, just smiling, with empty eyes, as if I had never left. Everyone in Millfield knew the rule. Never go near St. Holloway School after sunset. But rules are just stories people repeat, until someone decides to test them. I didn't believe in ghost stories. Not really. I was a journalist. And I came to Millfield to write about local myths, fake legends, old fears, rural superstition. That's what I thought this was. Until I saw the school. St. Holloway stood at the edge of town. Tall, old, covered in ivy. Its windows dark, like empty eyes staring back at the world. The gate was open, which was the first strange thing, because everyone told me it was locked for 15 years. Still, I went in. The moment my foot crossed the gate, the air changed. It felt heavier, like the sound itself slowed down. My recorder picked up static, even though it was fully charged. I ignored it. I walked toward the building, each step echoing too loudly. The school sign above the door was cracked, but still readable. St. Holloway School, education never ends. I laughed under my breath. A weird slogan, probably just old branding. The main door wasn't locked. Of course it wasn't. It opened with a long, painful creak. Inside, the hallway stretched endlessly. Lockers lined both sides. Some open, some closed. But what caught my attention was the smell. Not decay, not dust. Something else. Like wet chalk, mixed with rust. And something burnt. I stepped inside. My footsteps echoed, then slowly faded, like the building was swallowing sound. "Hello," I called out. No response. But my voice didn't echo back either. It just disappeared. That was the first real warning. I should have turned back. But then I heard it. Laughter. Soft, distant. Children's laughter. Coming from upstairs. I froze. Because there should have been no one here. The school was officially shut down. Years ago. I pulled out my flashlight and started toward the stairs. Step by step, the laughter grew clearer. But something was wrong with it. It didn't sound natural. Too synchronized. Too perfect. Like it was being played, not produced. Halfway up the stairs, I stopped. Because I saw something. On the wall. Handprints. Hundreds of them. Small, like children's hands. But pressed deep into the paint. Too deep. Like they weren't just touching the wall. They were trying to get through it. I swallowed hard. "This is just a prank," I whispered. But my voice shook. At the end of the hallway, a classroom door slowly opened. Just a crack. And the laughter stopped. Instantly. Silence hit me like a wall. Then, a voice came from inside. Soft, childlike. "Teacher, you're late." My body went cold. Because I wasn't a teacher. And I definitely didn't belong here. Still, I took a step forward. And that's when the door opened fully. And I saw them. Inside the classroom. Rows of students, sitting perfectly still. All facing forward. All wearing old uniforms. And every single one of them was staring at the empty blackboard. Not moving, not blinking. Just waiting. And then one of them slowly turned its head toward me and smiled. The moment that child smiled, I felt my stomach drop. Because it wasn't a normal smile. It was too wide, too controlled, like someone had stretched it across their face and told it to stay there. The rest of the class didn't move. Not a single head turned, except that one. Still staring at me. Still smiling. Then it whispered, "Teacher, we've been waiting." My throat went dry. "I'm not your teacher," I said immediately. But my voice sounded weak, uncertain, even to me. The child tilted its head, slowly. That's what the last one said. A cold silence filled the room. I took a step back. The door behind me. Closed. Not slammed. Not pushed. Just closed by itself. Click. That sound echoed through the entire school, like a lock turning in a place that had no locks. I turned quickly, pulled the handle. Locked. Of course it was locked. I pulled harder. Nothing. The laughter started again. But this time, it wasn't coming from upstairs. It was coming from inside the classroom. From every student, at once. Still not moving their lips. Just laughing. Softly, in perfect sync. I turned back slowly. The chalkboard was now filled with writing that hadn't been there before. You came back late. I stepped forward cautiously. That wasn't there, I whispered. But the words kept changing as I watched. You always come back. No, I don't, I said. My voice cracked. The windows suddenly darkened. Not outside, inside, like something had covered them, blocking the outside world completely. No light, no escape. Just me and them. The children slowly stood up, one by one, chairs scraping softly across the floor. But there was something wrong with their movement. Too smooth, too rehearsed. Like puppets pulled by invisible strings. They all faced me now. Every single one. Still smiling. Still hollow-eyed. Then they spoke. All at once. You taught us. My breath caught. I didn't teach you anything, I said quickly. But even as I said it, I didn't feel sure. Because something in my memory felt wrong. Like pieces were missing. The classroom began to shake slightly. Dust falling from the ceiling. The lights flickering. Then one of the students stepped forward. A girl, small, about 10 years old. She held something in her hand. A notebook, old, burned at the edges. She opened it, slowly, and turned it toward me. My name was written on the first page. Not just my name. My handwriting. I stumbled back. No, that's impossible. The girl smiled wider. You forgot. The pages began flipping on their own. Fast, too fast. And I saw things. Myself, standing in front of a classroom. Writing on a board. Speaking. Teaching. Laughing. But I had no memory of it. None. Stop, I whispered. The pages stopped. One final page. Only one sentence. You never left St. Holloway. The lights went out. Complete darkness. For a second. Then whispers returned. All around me. Closer than before. You stayed. You taught us. You belong here. I ran. Straight toward the door. Hands shaking violently. Pulling. Pushing. Anything. The lock clicked again. But this time, it opened. I fell into the hallway, gasping for air. But the hallway wasn't the same anymore. The lockers were gone, replaced with classroom doors, endless rows. And every single door had my name written on it. I turned and ran, down the stairs. But the stairs kept going, longer than they should. Impossible length. Like the building was stretching, trying to keep me inside. Then I saw the exit. The main door. I ran toward it, full speed. And just as I reached it, a hand grabbed my shoulder. Cold, bone-like. I turned slowly. The girl was behind me. But she wasn't alone anymore. All the students were there, standing behind her, watching me, smiling. You're not leaving? She said softly. And then, every light in the school turned on at once. And I saw the truth. The hallway, the classrooms, the building. It wasn't empty. It was full of teachers, all standing still, all facing forward, all smiling, just like the students. Frozen, waiting. And among them, I saw myself, standing at a desk, writing on the board, slowly turning my head to look at me, and smiling, just like them. The girl whispered one last thing. Class isn't over yet. Everything went white. When I woke up, I was outside, standing in front of the school. Morning light, birds singing, normal world. No sign of anything wrong. I turned slowly. The school looked abandoned again. Silent. Closed. Like nothing ever happened. I laughed nervously. It was just a hallucination. But as I turned to leave, my phone buzzed. A new message. Unknown number. One line. Teacher, you forgot homework again. And attached, a photo. It was me, inside the classroom, smiling at a chalkboard, writing, "Forever." They told me not to come here, not because it was dangerous, but because it was awake. I didn't understand what that meant until I arrived in Duryapur, a village hidden between mountains. No roads on maps, no signal, no record. But people still live here. At least, that's what they said. I came as a documentary researcher, looking for isolated sleep disorders in rural regions. A scientific story, nothing supernatural. That's what I told myself. Until the first night. The village looked normal at sunset. Children playing, women cooking outside, men returning from fields. But something felt off. No one smiled properly. Not fully, not naturally. Like they were remembering how to be human. The elder of the village greeted me, an old man named Rashid. "You came at the wrong time," he said quietly. I smiled. People always say that. He didn't smile back. "Here, night is not for sleeping." I laughed. "Then what is it for?" He stared at me. "Long. For waiting." That night, I stayed in a guest hut. Wooden walls, dim lantern light, complete silence outside. Too silent. I checked my recorder, started notes. Day 1, village appears normal. Unusual silence at night. Then I heard it. A sound, far away. A bell. Slow, rhythmic. Like someone was ringing it by hand. But it wasn't coming from one direction. It was coming from everywhere. I opened the door slightly. The village was dark, but not empty. People were outside, standing. Every single one. Not walking, not talking, just standing in front of their houses, facing the center of the village. And all of them were awake, eyes open, staring. I whispered to myself, "This is some kind of ritual." But then I noticed something worse. No one blinked. Not a single person. The bell kept ringing. And slowly, all of them began to whisper. Not to each other, not to me, but in unison. "We do not sleep." The words repeated, like a broken recording. "We do not sleep. We do not sleep. We do not sleep." My heart started racing. This wasn't normal. This wasn't cultural. This was something else. I stepped outside, slowly. The moment my foot touched the ground, every head turned toward me. At the exact same time, I froze. Their eyes were wide open, bloodshot, dry, and still. No blinking. One of them stepped forward. A young man. He spoke softly, but the entire village echoed him. "You are asleep." I shook my head. "No, I'm awake. I just came here." He tilted his head. "No one comes here awake." The bell stopped. Instant silence. Then, all at once, they began walking toward me, slowly, perfectly synchronized. No running, no emotion, just movement. I backed away, heart pounding. "What is this? Stay back," I shouted. But they didn't stop. The elder Rashid appeared behind them, walking slowly, and he said something I will never forget. "You think we are cursed, but we are not asleep. We are the ones who stayed awake too long." My breathing stopped. "What does that mean?" He looked at me, tired, ancient. Sleep was taken from this village, a long time ago. And now, it never returns. The villagers were getting closer. Too close. I turned to run, but the path behind me was gone. No exit, no road, only more village. expanding endlessly into darkness. And then I heard it. A whisper right behind my ear. "You will not sleep here." I turned quickly. No one. But I felt it. Inside my mind, something shifting, like my thoughts were slowing. The world felt heavier. The villagers stopped moving. All of them staring, waiting. Rashid spoke one last time. "If you stay till dawn, you will become like us." My vision blurred slightly. I stepped back, trying to fight it. But the exhaustion hit me instantly. Impossible exhaustion, like my body had forgotten how to stay awake. My knees weakened. No, I can't." The villagers smiled. Not happily, sadly, like they understood. And then, everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, it was still night. But something had changed. The air didn't feel like air anymore. It felt dense, like I was underwater. I was lying on the ground, in the middle of the village. Surrounded. All of them were still there, standing in a circle around me. Watching. Not blinking. Not moving. Waiting. My head was pounding. Every thought felt delayed, like my brain was running through thick mud. I forced myself to sit up. "What? What did you do to me?" I whispered. No one answered. Then Rashid stepped forward. Calm. Slow. "You fell asleep for 7 seconds." My stomach dropped. "That's impossible. I was just—" "You were gone," he interrupted. His voice was heavier now. "Even a second of sleep is dangerous here." I stood up slowly, my legs unstable. "What do you mean dangerous?" He looked at me for a long moment, then said, "Because sleep is not rest in this village. It is surrender." A cold wind passed through the village, and I noticed something terrifying. The villagers were not standing in a circle anymore. They were standing slightly closer. Closer than before, like they had shifted without me noticing. I took a step back. "Okay, I'm leaving. I don't care what this is. I'm leaving right now." Rashid didn't stop me. He just said quietly, "No one leaves at night." I ignored him and ran, this time faster than before. But something was wrong. The village was changing. Houses that I passed kept appearing again ahead of me, like the road was looping. Every turn brought me back to the same place. The same broken well, the same dead tree. I stopped running, breathing heavily. This isn't real. This isn't real. But then I heard it. Footsteps. Behind me. Slow, perfectly in sync. I turned. The villagers were following, but not walking. Gliding. Not touching the ground properly. Their feet barely moved. And still, they were getting closer. One of them spoke. Softly. "All paths end here. No roads outside sleep." My mind started spinning. This place wasn't a village. It was a loop. A trap. Something designed to keep people inside. Forever. I ran again. Desperately. But the world around me started dimming. Not darkness, but exhaustion. Like the air itself was forcing me to shut down. My eyelids became heavy. Too heavy. "No, not again," I whispered. But my body wasn't listening. I stumbled, nearly falling. Then I saw something in the distance. A boundary, a break in the darkness. Like the edge of the village. A gate. Hope surged through me. I sprinted toward it, ignoring everything, ignoring the whispers, ignoring the villagers closing in. Almost there, almost free. But then, Rashid appeared in front of me, instantly, like he had always been there. "You don't understand," he said softly. "This is not a place you escape from. It is a place you wake up inside." My breathing stopped. What does that even mean? He stepped closer, and for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Not for me. For himself. 4 generations. We thought we were alive. But one day, we realized we never woke up. My mind cracked slightly. That's insane, I whispered. But even as I said it, something inside me doubted it. He pointed toward the gate. You can leave, if you are willing to lose something. What? I asked quickly. He hesitated. Your memory of being awake. Silence. The villagers were getting closer again. Slow, unstoppable. I looked at the gate, then back at them, then at myself. And for the first time, I felt it. Fatigue, not normal tiredness. Something deeper, like my consciousness itself was fading. I made a decision. I ran toward the gate. Rashid didn't stop me. He just whispered, "Then forget us." As I crossed the boundary, everything shattered. Sound, light, time. When I opened my eyes, I was in my bed, in a city, normal world. My phone was ringing. My alarm was on. Everything was fine. I sat up quickly, breathing hard. It was a dream, I said out loud. Relief washed over me. But then, I noticed something. A note on my desk, written in handwriting I didn't recognize. It said, "You chose waking and left us sleeping." My blood ran cold. I dropped it instantly, and my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. One message. "We are still awake." I looked around my room slowly. Everything looked normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere, far away, a village was still standing, watching, waiting, and now, it remembered me.